I never thought something like this would happen to me. I was just an ordinary woman, had a decent job, a quiet apartment, and a routine that never changed. That is, until Kyle came into my life. I first met Kevin at work. He was quiet, the kind of guy you'd never notice unless you were paying attention. He was new in the office, hired to fill a position in our department. I remember him sitting at his desk, typing away with his head down, always a little too focused on his screen. At first, I thought he was shy, maybe a little awkward, but then I started to notice how he seemed to always find a way to hover around me. It started small. He'd offer to help me with my work, too eager, like he was trying to impress me. I didn't think much of it at first. Some people just want to be friendly, right? But it didn't take long before it became clear that it was more than just friendly gestures. At lunch, he'd always sit near me, and when I'd get up to go to the restroom, I'd catch him watching me. He didn't even try to hide it. His eyes would linger, and I'd feel an uncomfortable shiver down my spine. I remember telling myself I was just being paranoid, but deep down, I knew something wasn't right. Then came the day that changed everything. It was a typical Monday afternoon when I realized Kevin was no longer just a coworker. He was something far more dangerous. I was sitting at my desk answering emails when I heard a tap on the side of my cubicle. It was Kevin. "Hey, got a minute?" he asked, leaning against the partition. I looked up and nodded. "Sure. What's up?" He hesitated for a moment before speaking again. "I was wondering if you needed a ride home tonight. I know you take the bus and it's been getting late. It's no problem at all." I don't know why, but something about the way he asked felt off. My gut twisted. I was about to decline politely when I noticed something strange. A faint glint in his eyes, something I hadn't seen before. "No, thank you," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "I'll be fine, really." He smiled then, something too wide, too forced, and nodded, but the way he lingered for a moment too long made me feel uneasy. "All right, have a good night," he said and walked away. It wasn't long after that the strange things started happening. I began to notice my routine being disrupted. Little things at first. My phone going missing for a few minutes. The sound of footsteps following me a little too closely after work, like someone was just a little too interested in my movements. It made me feel uneasy, but I convinced myself that I was just imagining it. But deep down I knew that he was watching. Then came the night I'll never forget. It was a Tuesday and my apartment was quiet just the way I liked it. I was curled up in bed scrolling through my phone when I heard a soft click at my bedroom window. My heart skipped a beat. I thought I had imagined it, but then it came again, louder this time. I got out of bed and went to the window, heart racing. I pulled the curtain back just enough to see a shadow standing outside. It was Kevin. I froze, my blood running cold. What was he doing here? Why was he outside my window in the middle of the night? Before I could think, I backed away from the window and grabbed my phone. I was about to call the police when I heard a soft noise coming from behind me. My breath caught in my throat. The door to my bedroom was slightly ajar. I hadn't left it that way. I turned, and my blood ran even colder when I saw the shadow move in the corner of the room. Kevin. He was standing there, in my room, his face barely visible in the dim light. He wasn't saying anything, just staring at me with those same strange eyes. My heart pounded in my chest as I stumbled backward, my mind racing. "What the hell are you doing here?" I managed to gasp, my voice trembling. Kevin didn't respond at first. Instead, he slowly raised his hand, revealing something small and sharp in his fingers. I watched, horrified, as he stepped closer, and before I could react, he snipped something off, something soft and delicate. My hair. He had cut it. I screamed, stumbling backward in panic, but he didn't move. He stood there, holding the lock of my hair, his eyes glinting with something dark and predatory. "You're so beautiful," he whispered, his voice low and hoarse. "I wanted something to remember you by." I scrambled for my phone, but Kevin was too fast. He lunged at me, grabbing my wrist just as I was about to dial for help. His grip was tight, almost too tight, and his breath was hot against my face. I could feel his presence, overwhelming and suffocating. "I've been watching you, God," he said, almost lovingly. "You're mine. I'll always be with you." Tears stung my eyes as I fought against him, my mind racing for an escape. With one final desperate twist, I broke free and ran toward the door, slamming it shut behind me. But I didn't stop until I was outside, in the cold night air, gasping for breath. I called the police, shaking uncontrollably, telling them everything I could remember. Kevin was gone by the time they arrived, but they found something when they searched my apartment. Photos, hundreds of them, pictures of me taken from all angles, some of me at work, others from outside my window. He had been in my life for weeks, stalking me without my knowledge. And the hair? He had taken it with him. No trace of it was left behind. I never returned to that apartment. I moved away, and the police said Kevin had vanished. They never found him, and I never heard from him again. But sometimes when I'm alone in my new place, I feel like someone's watching me. I'll catch a glimpse of a shadow in the corner of my eye, or hear a faint sound, and my heart skips a beat. I know the truth now. Kevin is still out there, somewhere, and I'm not sure if I'll ever truly be free. So if you're reading this and you ever feel like someone's watching you, if you ever notice the little things that don't add up, trust your instincts. Because sometimes the monsters aren't in the shadows. Sometimes they're right next to you,